Chip, chip, goose! I win. So, to my surprise, when I was writing this episode, I actually hadn't done a Q&A for over 2 months. It feels like just a month ago that I had made my first Q&A episode. But well, just like last time, we have quite a bit of questions to get through. And I've noticed that there are some that are basically a repeat of questions, previous questions, so I've either left them out or have changed my response to them in some sort of way so as to avoid repeating myself or making things boring. So let's just get right into it. What's your vision for how you will serve the world? My vision for how I will serve the world will be possibly to provide people with scholarships such as through my creative writing club company. So it'll probably branch out into my mother company, publishing company, the podcast, and then the scholarship company if it gets to that point. But to be honest, I don't have much interest in serving the world. The world is a horrible, disgusting place. I do, however, wish to care for the people I love and the people who need and deserve help. And I have the feeling that there might be a bit of a repeat for different questions, but oh well. Alright. What have you started to value more as you get older? Sleep. Rest. Getting a chance to do things that I enjoy. Because before I started working, I used to get 13 hours of sleep every night. So that's like go to bed at 5 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m., or go to bed at 6 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. But now I typically get 4 hours a night on average due to work, school, insomnia, homework, so on and so forth. So yes, I definitely value rest and enjoyment now that I've gotten older. What are you most thankful for this year? This question was made back in 2022, so personally, I'd say that I'm most thankful for 3 things. One is my growing bank account and jobs. Granted, I'd much rather make money off my writing and podcasting, but these jobs will help me get a start funding to invest in my future. 2 is my ability to continue writing and podcasting, as well as my decision to start early since that has made me much more experienced for when I go into adulthood, and has made me be able to reach further ahead compared to my colleagues who have started more recently. Like, for instance, at the starting of this podcast, I would just make, short to the point sentences, like, this question would be gone and done for in 1 sentence, and now I go more in depth on things. Now for the most important for last. I'm most thankful for my boyfriend, Andrew, who has been looking out for me for the last several months, and has been cheering me on with every step I take to become a better person. I'm thankful to have him in my life, and I hope things continue to progress between him and I, in a more passive route, of course. In a more positive route, of course, not passive. So yeah, those are the 3 things I'm most thankful for in 2022. Money/work, experience, and love. Say or sing a bit of song with meaning to you. I'm not going to sing in this episode, and you can't make me. Also, there are plenty of songs out there that have meaning to me, so I can't really settle on one, nor am I going to say a bit of every single one. How do you invest in yourself? I invest in myself by doing many things, such as making sure I write as much as possible, taking time off to relax, of course, keeping up with my podcast, eating healthy, though I do have bags full of sweets in my locker, but that's just for snacking on, and I often share the things I have with my classmates anyway. I also invest in myself by ensuring to keep people with negative energies and attitude out of my life. Oh, and I invest in myself by getting help for my mental health, so then I could be a better partner and eventually a good mother in the future. If your life were a chapter book, what chapter are you in now? Well, if every year of age was another chapter, then I'd be on chapter 17, I guess. Though no matter what, the chapters are going to be long as hell. So if we were to shorten the chapters, then there would be hundreds of thousands of chapters within one's book. What's your favorite memory of your best friend? I've never had a best friend growing up. I guess my brother, though it's difficult being best friends with a sibling where 75% of the time you're either fighting or ignoring each other and each other's existence, and 25% of the time getting along. So I guess one of my favorite memories with my brother would be back when I was around 7 or 8 and Borderlands 2 had recently come out. Well, my brother decided to take me to a safe place which was designed like an Irish pub and covered in green. And I loved it. So much that he told me that whenever we're playing together and I want to go there, then I should just say green and he will remember. He didn't remember every single time, and I wasn't able to describe it because I didn't know the names of the surrounding areas, but I'd get so happy and excited whenever he would remember. Another time would be when we'd play Borderlands 1 together, and we'd be at the area called T-Bone, which I loved and preferred staying at despite there being nothing to do. But it's because I used to have a dog named T-Bone. Well, I'd be terrified to go outside of the safe house because my character's level would always be too low than the recommended level of the area. Well, whenever it was safe for a bit, I'd be able to go out and walk around, and I'd always end up going too far into one area, and my brother would have to race over and help me. We'd just be laughing constantly about my stupidity and how quickly I'd get my ass kicked. Also, there was a little window in one of the rooms of the safe house that could be shot through, so typically after I'd accidentally set something off, I'd run there to hide behind a machine or a wall. Well, they'd still be able to shoot me, and so I'd just be in a corner mashing buttons and screaming, while my brother would be laughing and trying to kill whatever is hunting me down. So yeah, I'd say that video games, especially ones like COD Zombies, Borderlands, Minecraft, Little Big Planet, GTA, all that stuff, would have some nice memories attached to them. Do social apps do more harm or good? How so? I'm more on the fence about it, because yes, they can be a distraction and could lead a person to anxiety, depression, and even suicide. But at the same time, they've helped people away from suicide, such as people watching YouTubers that bring light and reason to their life, or they find a niche that they enjoy and eventually make money off of. It's useful for marketing connections, but it can also ruin people's life or make them more sensitive to things around them, since some people are only fed negative media and in turn only find negatives in life. So really, I can't quite decide if social apps do more harm or good, because it really depends on who you talk to, what they view, and how they react to it. Social media can be an extremely helpful resource for many different subjects, but at the same time people kill themselves over it, or even threaten to kill others, so I'd say it's best to decide for yourself. And if you decide harm, then maybe only do it in moderation or change up with what you're viewing. If you decide good, then that's perfectly fine. Keep it up as long as you're not falling behind in real life. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be? What would you talk about? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I've never really looked up to anyone or found much interest in celebrities growing up, so I don't really know any historical figures, especially off the top of my head. So I don't really know who I'd want to meet with. Probably a famous author like Veronica Roth, Stephen King, or George R.R. Martin. But even then, I don't know what we'd talk about, since I feel as though I just received the same old answers to questions like, what's your writing process? What makes you love writing? How'd you get into writing? But I think one thing I'd find interesting would be finding out more about their childhood and traumas. That's especially something I'd love to hear about many fantasy authors. Tell me about one of the best days you can remember. I honestly don't know. I don't really have much control in terms of focusing on negatives or positives due to mental illnesses. And also, meds make me lose my memory more. Alright, how has your life turned out differently than you imagined it would? My life has turned out extremely differently than what I imagined it would. When I was younger, for instance, I thought I would have graduated with my friends I had known since 3rd grade. Well, I ended up moving to Ottawa halfway through 7th grade, so that's never going to happen. I thought I was going to end up getting a house with a bunch of friends and we could all hang out. Meanwhile, we don't even talk anymore. I thought I was going to end up like everybody else and end up spending all my money and spend all my time playing video games and watching movies. Well, that certainly did not happen. I used to want to be a professional gamer or streamer. I used to want to be in the WNBA or Olympics. Yeah, that's never going to happen, and I'm fine with that. I enjoy the way my life has gone. Now I just need to be able to make a living off my writing podcasting, and I would have achieved my lifelong goal and will be able to live a comfortable life with an adorable puppy. This one had a quote, so, "The past is never dead. It's not even past. Is anything in your past a little too present?" I did not understand that quote whatsoever. But anyway, I'd say that there are two things from my past that are a little too present. One would be negative people, such as family members tearing you down or suggesting you pursue a different career, judge you for your life choices, or even stop acknowledging you when you tell them that you haven't made thousands of dollars off your novels yet. The second one, I can't really say because it's more personal, but yeah, negative people. My favorite holiday movie of all time is blank. What makes it great? I don't have a favorite holiday movie, since it's difficult for me to sit down and focus on something for a long period of time. I also don't really have that much interest in holiday movies in general. What's the most intriguing idea you've heard lately? The most intriguing idea I've heard lately would be that villagers from Minecraft are economic terrorists. Well, specifically they said eco-terrorists, but yeah, economic terrorists. Now, I had to look it up because I didn't know what it was, and the Google definition is, the term economic terrorism or financial terrorism is strictly defined to indicate an attempt at economic destabilization by a group. So, I didn't really understand how exactly that relates to villagers in Minecraft, but he told me not to worry about it, so I'm just going to choose to not worry about it. What does wisdom mean to you? I'm going to assume they mean the term wisdom and not the app. To me, wisdom is being able to spread and receive knowledge with a positive mindset, being aware that there's always more to learn in life, and wishing to learn as much as possible within the time they have left. Wisdom is being able to teach others while also being aware of what aspects and knowledge they should be left to figure out for themselves. Alright, so, describe your childhood in 59 seconds. Alright, just gotta quickly pull up a stopwatch because I forgot to pull that up before setting up to record. Alright. Alright, so I have a timer set for 59 seconds. I need to set it as a timer. 59. There we go. Alright, so. Let's go nuts. Wake up, sleep, cry, work, write, run, sleep, move, run, write, read, sleep, work, sleep, write, reading, sleep. Alright. Hopefully that made enough sense to you all. That was not 59 seconds. That was actually massively less than 59 seconds. But oh well. I've managed to fit my entire childhood in, I think that was less than 20 seconds. Anyway. You have 3 wishes, and one may not be for more wishes. Go. 1. To remain in a happy, healthy, long-term relationship. 2. To be able to make money off my writing and podcasting. 3. To be able to achieve whatever I set my mind to, aside from murder and suicide. Boom. I win. What is the story you find yourself telling over and over? I don't really talk to many people, aside from, my boyfriend. And I talk to a few at home. And I talk to so few at home, work, and school that I'd say it doesn't even count. So I don't really think there's any sort of story that I end up telling over and over. Granted, there are tons of times I have to repeat myself because either whoever I'm speaking to didn't hear me or jumbled up my words so much that whatever I was saying would become incoherent and I'd have to repeat it. What do you want included in your eulogy? Does it have anything to do with your professional life? Oh, I definitely want my professional life to be included in my eulogy. I'd at least like one final time to be praised for my hard work after dying, so it better not be excluded. I'd also like some stuff I went through growing up to be included to show how much I've persevered and demonstrated the fact that I, much like everyone else, didn't have an easy childhood or upbringing. What's your favorite holiday tradition? My family doesn't do traditions, so I legit don't have one. We hardly celebrate anything in general. What things are most important to you in choosing a home? Kitchen. And a big one. Well, not like millionaire mansion big, but big enough so then it'll have enough counter space to fit all of the food that I'm gonna make. Must have a washer/dryer. I do not want to use a shared one. Those always break. Must have a bedroom big enough to fit a bookshelf or multiple. Either that or have a separate room meant for bookshelves. Like a little private library or study gaming room. Bathroom must have a shower, not just a tub. Good Wi-Fi, though that's something I'm supposed to get separately. Heating, 100% need heating. And cooling too, but especially heating. What makes for a good community? I have absolutely no clue. I've never been part of a community. How have you changed as a person in the last year? Well, I've started taking charge of my mental health, decided that it's best for me to not be around my family members anymore since they're bad influences, though I've been wanting to leave ever since I was a child. I've stopped caring as much about my grades, which is primarily due to my decision not to go to university. Instead, now I'm more focused on actually learning and enjoying myself. What's your intention for the new year, 2023? My intention for the new year, well, I don't really set resolutions since I see those as a waste of time, but I guess I'll just continue with what I'm doing and work on improving myself to eventually be a good mother and become a better partner. What have you learned about relationships from your friends? My friends taught me not to get too attached since even long-term relationships can come to an end and leave you broken and hurt. What do you remember of your first kiss? Okay, so I'm not going to say his name because my first kiss was not enjoyable whatsoever. And the only reason why I'm fine with answering this question is because no one in my life listens to this podcast, especially him and his friends. So I'm just going to briefly go over it. My first kiss wasn't all that enjoyable. The guy I was on a date with just finished talking about hentai games and I was cold, uncomfortable, and tired. Well, he asked me after a moment's silence if he could kiss me. Moment of awkward silence, might I add. So, me being too scared to say no, which wasn't his fault at all, I just didn't feel comfortable with no that much at the time, I said yes. And well, it was terrible. He got spit all over my mouth, his breath was horrible, he made my lip bleed, and we ended up knocking teeth, all for a less than 1 second kiss. And what's even worse is that I didn't feel any sort of change in terms of my feelings towards him. Which I thought was because something is wrong with me, but it turns out I just didn't have feelings for him in general. So yeah, that was my first kiss. Not special at all, sadly. But oh well. It's not like there's only one kiss a person can have throughout their entire lifetime. Besides, every relationship can have their first kiss, and those alone can be special and fuzzy. If you had the funding to start any business this year, which would you start and why? If I had the funding to start any business, I think it would be either my publishing company or start a not-for-profit company that gives scholarships to students, keeping it under the creative writing name, of course. Creative writing club name, of course. Are you happy with your friendships right now? Well, considering that my only friendship right now is my boyfriend, I'm gonna go definitely. What's something you're not proud of? Something that I'm not proud of a little bit would be like a little bit of the Death Chill trilogy, but at the same time I think the storyline Past Me had in mind was actually really good. So I've been thinking that after I finish the Shrouded Persona series that I'd do a remake of Death Chill. Because after all, Past Me had a good idea on a story, but just did not have the skills to follow through with it at that time to make it something truly great. Alright, final question. What's your travel disaster story? I've never traveled before, so I don't have a travel disaster story. And that is everything for this week's Q&A. I hope you all enjoyed and had learned something interesting today, especially in terms of a different viewpoint. Follow at CWC Publishing on Twitter. Check out my novels Death Chill, Flame Rip, and Arctic Blaze on Amazon and Kobo, link in description. Check out the Creative Writing Club Patreon, link in description. Check out the Crave Running Club Discord server in the description. Check out my personal Instagram at dark_night_wolves. And this week's meeting is now within its realm of conclusively conclusionness.